Hello friends, welcome to our session on organizational behavior. We were doing personality. Now this is personality 1.2 where we are discussing the various theories of personality. Earlier we have done what personality means, what are determinants and dimensions of personality, and we have also done the type theories in personality. Now we are going to do trait theories in personality. First comes the Gordon-Allport. It is very simple. Gordon Allport says that there are two types of traits, that is common traits and personal disposition in personality. What the common traits are? Common traits are all those traits which are common. Common traits are those traits which are common in culture. Common in a particular culture are the common traits. And okay, we got it. Golden Allport says that there are two type of personality has two type of traits, that is common trait and personal disposition. Common traits are which are common to particular culture, and personal disposition has three things, that is cardinal traits which are dominating, meaning certain traits which are dominating in a person. Something like, for example, some people are very creative, so they dominate over other traits, or some may be very aggressive, so they dominate over other traits of being humbleness or etc. And certain other is central traits. Central traits are those traits which are general to all the human beings, which are general to person. In these common traits, these are general to culture, and central traits are common to person. Now hidden traits are those traits or peripheral traits which are not open, about which not everybody knows. Maybe very near friends of a particular person may know that, or these traits they surface only in specific situations or circumstances. Maybe some people get angry, like for example in Golmaal 3, जब उसे अंगुली दिखाई जाती थी, then he used to get very angry. So in some particular situations that particular trait comes surface out. So this is known as peripheral trait or secondary trait, which are known to close people only, and particularly likes and dislikes, etc. So you have understood this. It is based on distinction between common traits and personal disposition trait, and he has done 50 different personalities analysis, and then he has found out, he summarized this thing in that there are two kinds of traits, common traits and personal disposition. What is the difference? Okay, you must have understood this, like two cultures have different traits, I1, I2, I3, and these kind of different traits are there in two cultures. So each culture has some common trait. Yeah, obviously, like for example in America, the individualistic approach and more educational approach, more aware approach is there in America. When you talk of India, we have more family values, where we respect elders, and like we are the social beings. So these are traits which are common to certain culture, and obviously this is not an hard and fast rule. We all know that when you talk of human beings, then every time there is a scope of exceptions, and there is a scope of change or deviation from the theory. Okay, now let's come to the next one, that is Louis Goldberg. We have already done it earlier, ocean theory, and you remember ocean theory by ocean is iceberg, and by that you remember it is given by Goldberg. Okay, now next is evaluation of traits theory. You understood what is type theory, traits theory. We have only two, and we did what traits theory are. I explained you for earlier in the earlier video, so we won't give much time to it again. Now evaluation. These are most practical experiences of personality, good for laymen, simplest, easy to understand. Allport briefly touched unconscious dimension. Also unconscious dimension he is talking about, this one. Unconscious dimension has been touched, hidden, peripheral, although it's not very unconscious, but they say that briefly touched unconscious dimension. Also while describing persona, interpersona, inner persona, unknown on we did this thing, and more realistic than hypothetical types, that is type approach. Okay, criticism, it does not recognize traits in development stages. Like they say that when a person is develops, or whenever he is born, then he becomes youth, and all, in that period of time also his personality changes, and the changes that occur in his childhood days have an impact on his personality in his youth. So this is not being considered in these kind of theories, and it does not talk about personality change from childhood to adulthood, same thing. Now comes psychoanalytical theory. I do not like this theory. Just I like the Sigmund Freud theory. Otherwise, other theories I do not find them very useful. Let's discuss. Psychoanalytic theory. They consider what was the problem with the earlier theory, that they do not consider the unconscious part. So they consider the unconscious part nicely. And now when we talk about, this is what is psychoanalytical theory, and now Sigmund Freud. This is actually very interesting and very important. See, Sigmund Freud talks about four things, like topography of human psyche and structure of human mind, concept of defense mechanism, and psychosexual development stages. So guys, you can understand it by knowing your own self. Come on, let's see. Sigmund Freud's, as per Sigmund Freud's theory, topography of human psyche. He says that a human psychology, or human psyche, human brain, human mind has these three stages. Not stages, three components. So he has used the metaphor of iceberg, and he says that earlier, as in the case of iceberg, only 10% of the iceberg is visible. It is over the water surface, and the other 90% is inside the water surface. So he says that 10% that is visible is the unconscious state of our mind. Sorry, is the conscious state of our mind, and just below the conscious state of mind, or just below the visible portion, is the slightly visible portion, and it is subconscious stage of our mind. And the portion, or the largest portion, or the biggest portion, or 50 to 60% portion, which is not visible to us, which lies more in depth, and this portion is known as unconscious state of our brain or mind. Clear? We all know that we have a conscious stage of mind, we have a pre-conscious stage of mind, and we have an unconscious one, which we all don't know, which may come up, which may pop up in case of certain circumstances or situations, but it is still there and we do not realize it. And conscious is something that we know about ourselves, and pre-conscious is in middle of the two. It is like in our memory for time being, and then after that it moves to the unconscious one. So now comes the structure of human mind. Okay, we are done with this state of our mind, or typology of human psyche. Now structure of human mind. Just think about a TV serial. You might have seen in TV serial that बीच में हीरोइन खड़ी है, उसके आगे ब्लैक साड़ी में कोई है, उसको इसके इधर की साइड, राइट साइड में ब्लैक में और लेफ्ट साइड में वाइट साड़ी में कोई होता है. जो सेम हीरोइन के राइट साइड में अगर ब्लैक वाइट साड़ी में खड़ी है और लेडी, वो उसे कहेगी कि उसे ऐसा करना चाहिए, ब्लैक साड़ी वाली कहेगी उसे ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. दैट मीन वो एक्चुअली दे वांट टू डिपिक्ट दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सन इज इन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट. उसमें अच्छाई और बुराई की कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रही है. कोई उसे बोल रहा है कि नहीं उसे ऐसा करना चाहिए, कोई बोलता है नहीं उसे ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए. इन दैट इज वॉट इट इज स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ह्यूमन माइंड. दिस इट इज द ब्लैक साड़ी वाली लेडी, ब्लैक साड़ी की लेडी दैट सेज कि नहीं, you do, your instant gratification must happen, your own worries, your own self must be satisfied. They talk about, they are very selfish, they talk about their own fears, it talks about its own pleasure, its own instant gratification. And then this superego is that white sari wali lady who says no, you have to be morally correct, you should do this thing, this is right and this is wrong. This is super ego wali lady. And this ego wali, that normal sari wali lady, maybe colorful sari ki lady, who is standing in front of mirror, who is thinking, she is ego, she is rational. She actually analyzes the arguments given by id as well as super ego, and she takes a decision. So what we conclude here is, id is the irrational part, it works on pleasure principle. Ego, it works on reality or rational principle. Superego, it works on moral principle. Okay. Next, what we are studying? We are studying the theory of personality. In the theory of personality, we are doing the third part, and that is psychoanalytical theory. Psychoanalytical theory, we are doing the theory given by Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud has given us a theory in which he has used, first of all, a typology of human psyche on the basis of iceberg metaphor, and then we did the mind, the state structure of human mind. Now the next concept of defense mechanism. What happens that this is very interesting. We all know that we have an id, we have an ego, and we have a super ego in ourselves. So our ego has to be very strong. It has to be so strong in order to solve the conflict between the id and the super ego. Okay, and a person who has a strong id is a rational person. A person who do not have a strong ego, I'm sorry, I think I said it wrong. A person who has a strong ego is a rational person because he can actually rationalize his id as well as his superego. That means he can satisfy his id as well as his superego on the basis of moral arguments and rational happenings. So what happens that sometimes a person may act in conflict with id, sometimes it acts in conflict with superego. So it must be there because both are in conflict with each other, both are contrasting. So if one is satisfied, other is excluded, so we go for a compromise, and in the compromise process we go for defense mechanism. This is what it tells. Okay, particularly this is a way of justifying our own decisions, or this is a way of avoiding the conflict, or this is the way of avoiding the dissonance in ourselves, or we can say avoiding the inconvenience in our own self, our own emotions, that in order to tell our own self that we did what we did was right. Like repression means you stop thinking about it, you ignore that particular thing, whatever happened, you do not think about it, so as to keep yourself away from that kind of feeling of inconvenience. Denial means you simply reject it. Projection means you blame to others. Rationalize means you justify with your reasons. Intellectualization means you separate yourself from emotions. I can give you one example. Like for example, a woman's husband is on his deathbed, or maybe in hospital in a very critical stage. Then she may focus more on taking care of him rather than being worried about his health. She may keep herself busy in finding out what the disease is, what can be the possible remedies, what doctor she can consult to, etc. So it is intellectualization in order to prevent herself from the stress and anxiety. Regression means you are giving up mature solving method in front of early childhood approach. Right? For example, you have not studied for the exam, then you think that whenever I put a tilak on my forehead, then I clear the exam. So instead of studying, you resort to your tilak. That is regression. Displacement means shifting the intended target. For example, you are very angry with your mother. Your mother did not give you the money that you asked her. Then you go to your younger brother and younger sister and you scold him or her. So in order to just vent out your anger. So your intended target is very threatening. So you just pass it on to some accessible or vulnerable one. Now atonement is accepting wrong deeds and feeling sorry. That means you accept I did something wrong. Yes, I accepted that I did something wrong. Okay, these are the defense mechanism that a person may go through. And this is like a psychosexual development stages, and I don't think it has got any link with OB as such when we talk about why the people behave in the way they behave and how to influence it. So just give a reading what it says, and you can easily understand. What are the evaluation of segment theory, contributions and criticism and defense. This is very simple. Contributions, people are irrational to demands, like id. When we talk about id, so it has explained about the unconscious, the dark side of the unconscious mind. Animal nature of the same thing. Importance of childhood experiences. Yes, childhood experiences have a great, here he will explain, childhood experiences have a great impact on the personality. Those feelings or those thoughts, even those fears which develop in the childhood, they are actually they stays for long until the till the adulthood, etc. And defense mechanism theory, this is very unique and this is very true. Emergence of psychotherapy, and that these psychoanalytical theories, they actually emphasize that change in behavior can occur only through psychotherapy, because the unconscious stage of mind or inner problems of the human beings can be handled only through this therapy. Criticism, it is overemphasized psychosexual development theory, under emphasis of development after youth, because after 12 years they don't talk about. So they say after youth, and helpless, poor and hopeless picture of human being, because we are actually, they turn us to be a servant. So it means we have some instant gratification approach or in tendency. Artificial division of mind, this is an artificial division. And defense psychotherapy is useful, unconscious and childhood experience, they consider all these things, means contributions you can mention in defense as well. Okay, fine. We are done with Sigmund Freud. You understood what is Sigmund Freud's theory, what it is contribution. You learned about what the stages of your mind. Yeah, you learned about the typology, and okay, next comes the other two theories, that is Alfred Adler's theory and Erik Erikson's theory. These are very simple. I think this is actually, I did not find it much important, so you can just go through it, pause the video and just read it once. That's okay. Now comes to the behavioral theories. We'll be doing the most important theories here. First of all, behavioral theories, I find them very useful, because these you can apply and you can use and quote in your answers as well. So behavioral theories, as I told you, what are behavioral theories? Behavioral theories are theories which actually put emphasis on the behavior of an individual. That means you go for a concept known as behavior modification. See what it is. Personality is a result of interaction between an individual and his environment. Behavioralistic explained personality in terms of effects of external stimuli on human behavior. If you remember, then you remember what is SOBC. We learned in the first video, SOBC, making sense of out of human behavior. This is actually quite related to that, although both are in different perspective. Now see, it is focused on observable behavior. That means what we see, unlike unconscious one, as being said in the psychoanalytical one. It is not related to unconscious behavior. It is related to the observable behavior, the behavior that we can see, that is visible, that is explicit. It is related to that behavior. Okay. Now B mode here means modification. Behavior modification is possible. Okay, fine. Now external influences is as well in internal influences, and we will see to it, like particularly what it means is environment. It consider environment. B.F. Skinner. Okay. Now comes, this is very important theory. B.F. Skinner talked about positive reinforcement to continue behavior, negative reinforcement to change behavior. Simply it is, you can actually take it from your daily lives as well. Whenever you do anything, and the consequences of it are, if the consequences are positive, then it gives you a reinforcement to do it again. For example, if you comes first in your class, or if you come first in your class and you are given a chocolate, then it is a positive reinforcement. The consequences of coming first in the class gives you a chocolate, then you will be encouraged to come first, to study hard. Or simply you say, when you complete your tiffin, when a student complete his or her tiffin, then his or her mother maybe gives them allows them to watch TV for the 15 more minutes if they complete their tiffin. So if such an incentive is given to them, then it will positively act as a positively reinforcer, and they may continue their behavior. Means it will increase the repetition of the same behavior. In the same way, negative reinforcement, if you come late in the class and you are made to stand out in the sun, then that is a negative reinforcement. So that will reduce the repetition of the behavior. So this is what is positive and negative reinforcement. And so this is very simple. It is only this much. But what we are going to understand are these terms. So first of all, B.F. Skinner says, what causes a person to act in a specific way? He says that the causes what causes a person to act in a specific way is the consequences, is the consequence. If you change the consequence, automatically his response will change. Okay, so see how it happens. Like stimulus is there, like if a child is idle, if he is sitting idle, and what respond he may give, he will cry, he will cry. And if he cries, then his mother enters and pampers him. So if he sees that when I cry my mother pampers me, then he will cry again. It is a positive reinforcer. But if he sees that when he cries and he gets a scolding from his mother, then it is a negative reinforcement. That means if you change the consequences or alter the consequences, or you provide alter the consequences from positive negative or negative positive, then that will have an impact. Like positive will lead to repeated response and negative will reduce the repeated response. Okay. So focus of mutual interaction with one in the environment, that means stimulus is very important. Three-step contingency model, it is a three-step model. It is a concept of operant conditioning. So this response, what is this response? This response is operant behavior, behavior which is operative. So it is an operant behavior. So when the conditioning of operant behavior occurs, it is known as operant conditioning. So how you can condition the operant behavior? By making changes in the consequences, by altering the consequences, by providing the negative or positive reinforcement. Okay, what is the concept of B mode? B mode means behavior modification. This behavior modification can occur by operant conditioning. This operant conditioning can occur by providing positive or negative reinforcement. Okay, fine. Okay. So this change in the environment, this provide further stimulus, this will have operant behavior, again stimulus, then operant behavior. So it will turn into a circle. Okay. Now it is very simple. You must have understood. This is also a theory of motivation. You will study it. I will add one more thing to it, is Bandura theory of social social cognition. This is very simple. Like when you watch a child, what happens? Suppose a child is playing with a toy in a specific manner. If he is throwing the toy, then his mother scold him. If the mother scold him, then he will have less tendency of throwing the toy again, because he will be afraid of the consequences that his mother will scold him. This is what is B.F. Skinner, what B.F. Skinner says. But if suppose when a child throws a toy, then his mother scold him, but maybe his elders, or maybe his siblings, maybe his parents, they themselves, they throw the toy in front of him. So when he sees the people throwing the toy, then it will also have an influence in him, because he will try to imitate it, and that is why he will also throw a toy. So that means his behavior is not only impacted by the positive and the negative reinforcement, but it is also impacted by the social behavior in front of him. That means he also his behavior is impacted by the observational learning and imitation. So this is what is reciprocity determinism. That is, a person's behavior does not only influence, but is also influenced by the personal factor as well as the social environment. Fine, this is very simple to understand. I hope you understood it. Now next comes the John Watson theory. This is again a very simple theory, and you can just give a reading to it. Now, he is known as father of American behavioralism, almost similar to B.F. Skinner. No concentration should be given on unconscious motives. Obviously, in behavioral theories itself, we do not give any focus on unconscious matter. Behavior has, as per John Watson, evolutionary continuity. That is, study of behavior is same for all living beings. It should be its determination, it should be stable, it should be consistent and recognizable. And behavior has overt, that means open and observable influence on personality, because we are not considering the covert aspects of behavior. Okay. Overt consequences we have seen. Fine, we are done with the behavioral theories. B.F. Skinner's theory is important. Bandura's can also be quoted. That is, social cognitive theory can be quoted at various points. Now comes the self theories. Self theories are very simple theories or humanistic theories. they talk about what's on self, how one sees himself, and how one wants to be seen in first of all, let's know what is humanistic theories. Let's see. Refinement of behavioral theories. Humanistics have focus on organism itself. These theories say that man has a concept of self matlab one own self, and has free will. That means he is freely to decide about what he wants to be. This is very interesting, like in this earlier theory of Sigmund Freud, that is psychoanalytical theory. He talks about id. He talks about that black sari wali lady that forces you to do wrong things, although you don't want to do. You're such a good person, but that forces you to do the wrong thing. You are servant. You are actually forced by your impulses, your fears, your wants, your desires. So you have no option. That kind of feel is created by Sigmund Freud. But this theory says that you can change your behavior. मतलब if you have that approach ना, मैं ऐसा क्यों हूँ, मैं ऐसा क्यों हूँ, so you must go through this theory. This theory says you actually can change yourself. You can change your behavior. A man has a free will. He is not compelled to do something. He is a free will. In psychoanalytical theory, we talk about the dark matter. We talk about the dark side of human mind. We talk about id. We talk about superego and ego. We need a very strong ego in order to stabilize id as well as superego. So this theory is little different in that aspect. And okay, these humanistic theories, they talk about free will, about what he wants to do, what the person wants to do, and rather than forced or definitive unconscious factors. Fine. So it is continuous improvement of personality. Okay. First comes the Abraham Maslow's theory. So Abraham Maslow theory is very important theory. We will be doing it again in the motivation one, where we talk about the need hierarchy theory of Maslow. You must also have learned about need hierarchy theory in your class 11-12. So let's talk about the two aspects of Maslow's theory. One is core tendencies and the second is core characteristics. Actually it is very simple. Even the core tendencies, they emerge from 5 core characteristics. Core tendencies means there are 2 tendencies of human being. One tendency is to survive. That means a tendency towards survival. The other tendency is tendency toward self-actualization. Okay, well, at one point in time, he thinks about his physical needs, his survival, his existence, and at other point in time, he talks about his self-actualization. Self-actualization. He talks about realization. He talks about emancipation. He talks about these bigger terms and tougher terms. And so survival is simple. It can be satisfied, but self-actualization has no limits. It is infinite and can never be fully satisfied. The more you actually you realize yourself, the more you start feeling yourself, and the more you have the feeling of evolvement, the more you evolve. This is similar. This is as simple as that. Now 5 core characteristics. The 5 core characteristics is nothing but 5 Maslow's need hierarchy theory. The 5 kind of needs which he have arranged in one hierarchy is 5 core characteristics. We all know that the hierarchy is physiological, safety, social, esteem, and self-actualization. And this hierarchy, it moves in this particular direction only. That means it moves in this particular manner only. And the satisfaction of the lower order need leads to the activation of the higher order need. And we say that the satisfaction of the lower order need is a necessary and satisfying condition for the activation of the higher order need. How come? What do you mean by this? Necessary condition is that one, it must be satisfied. The lower order need must be satisfied to activate higher order need. Secondly, as soon as the lower order need is satisfied, the higher order need is automatically activated. Fine. Okay. The hierarchy as given by Maslow is this. And now we see a new thing here. What is this new thing? This is like, you suppose you have a theory of physiological, and if this theory is not fulfilled, that is, you're deprived of this sorry, if this need is not fulfilled, you are deprived of this need, then what happens? Then there is a consequence in your behavior, there is a change in your behavior. That is what we are talking about. Like, if your physiological need, that means your need for land, need for food, shelter, clothing, etc., basic living condition is not fulfilled, then you will be sick, you will be maldeveloped, and then you will have an hoarding behavior, you will have an habit of hiding your things, saving your things. If you have your need for safety is not fulfilled, then you may grow insecure, and then you will have a feeling of insecurity, you may have many phobias then. So if your feeling social needs are not satisfied, you are isolated and lonely, then it will you will lead to your introvert and unsocial behavior, etc. So unfulfillment of any of these need may lead to consequences, certain consequences in you. That means certain kind of feelings in you, and this will actually manifest in your behavior. Okay, this is simple. So now comes Carl. This was what Maslow said about human behavior. Maslow said about how the human behavior, his own self, how he can we can identify a human behavior, why he is behaving the way he behaves. Like, we'll come to know if he is very introvert, then we should actually find out the reason behind it, whether he is lonely or whether he is isolated, or whether his social needs are not justified or satisfied. So this way this can be done. Now comes Carl Rogers' theory of personality. This is also very simple actually. Carl Rogers, this is also known as self theory, his self image. He talks about three things. Let's start. Self concept, a person's perception about himself, or I can say it is self image, who he is and what he stands for. And this who he is and what he stands for is actually his own perception. We are talking about what he thinks that he is and what he thinks that he stands for, and also has a perception of relationship with others. How am I linked with others, and this how am I linked with others, and how am I regarded by others. This is also important. Let's see. Okay, every man has a core tendency to actualize his inherent potential, and every man has three core characteristics. Actualize, that means self actualization. Three core characteristics. One is need for positive regard from others. हम सब अच्छा कहलवाने की कोशिश करते हैं, अच्छा बनने की कोशिश नहीं करते. थोड़ा सा moral lesson, but it is a true fact that we all try to be called good rather than we attempt to be good. So this is a need for positive regard from others. We can call it Maslow's esteem need. And need for self-regard, that means our own regard. So this is also self-esteem as given by Maslow. It is in self-actualization only, or in esteem also you can divide it to like social esteem, esteem from others, and self-esteem. Or third is self-concept, that is belief about yourself, what you think about yourself. This is completely self-actualization part. So this is simply I can say development over the Maslow's need hierarchy theory. And Carl Rogers' theory of personality says that a person has a self concept of himself, and he wants three core characteristics. Like he has a need to have regards from others, he has a need to have self regard, that I should expect myself. Then about self concept. There's one thing, that when what we accept from others, what we accept from others and what we get from others, if there is a difference in them, then it will lead to conflict, it will lead to disturbances, it will lead to inner turmoil. And or even if we get regard from others, if whether the regards are conditioned or whether the regards are unconditional. That means unconditional regard means exactly what we wanted from others, we have got it. Conditional regards means either the regards with certain changes in it or for certain return. So if these conditioned regard are there, then these are not exactly similar to what we wanted from others, and then it will lead to maladjusted person. So we may have inferiority complex, mistrust, programmed or defense. We may turn defensive and conforming by nature. if we get unconditional regard, like exactly what I want from people, people say me, compliment me in that manner, then there'll be congruency between self and others, self potential, creative, and all these things will okay turn out simple. Nothing much. Carl Roger's self theory, 3 regard from others, self regard, and self concept. What is the contribution of self theory? Self theory जो अनकॉन्शियस वाली किसने बात की थी, अनकॉन्शियस वाली बात किसने की थी, साइको एनालिटिकल थ्योरी ने। और ये सामने जो दिख रहा है ना, ऑब्जर्वेबल बिहेवियर, इसकी बात की थी एक तो बिहेवियरल थ्योरीज ने, और लेकिन वो तो बात की थी एनवायरनमेंट के कंटेक्स्ट में, लेकिन हम सिर्फ एक उसी पर्सन के कंटेक्स्ट में बात करेंगे जो उसका सामने का पॉइंट है, वो आएगी सेल्फ थ्योरी में, कि वो जो है उसका जो व्यू है अपने बारे में वो सेल्फ में आ गया। और जब इस ह्यूमन को हम एनवायरनमेंट के साथ कनेक्ट कर देंगे तो बिहेवियरल थ्योरी आ जाएगी। फाइन। तो कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या है हमारी इस सामने वाली थ्योरी का, प्रेजेंटेड पॉजिटिव साइड ऑफ ह्यूमन, कि हाँ डार्क, पहले वो बोलता है कि नहीं डार्क और होपलेस ही होता है, नहीं मैस्लो ने बोला नहीं, उसने अगर कुछ गलत किया है तो उसके पीछे एक रीज़न है। सो उस नीड को अगर फुलफिल कर दिया जाए तो पर्सन विल इम्प्रूव, ही कैन इम्प्रूव हिमसेल्फ। एंड देन कार्ल्स ने भी बताया कि हमारी जो सेल्फ इमेज है हमारे बारे में, हम उसको चेंज करके अपने आप को इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं। मैन इज क्रिएटिव एंड एक्टिव एंटिटी, ऑब्वियसली मोर रियलिस्टिक एज ओनर्स लाइज ऑन सेल्फ, हम खुद पे सेल्फ, मतलब व्हाट इज माई ओन इमेज ऑफ माई सेल्फ, है ना। इफ़ आई चेंज इट, इफ़ आई चेंज माई ओन इमेज कि हाउ पीपल रिगार्ड मी, देन वो मेरा मैच हो जाएगा। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आई हैव ए नीड दैट पीपल शुड रिगार्ड मी and they give me some other regard. So if I change my own perception, if I change my own image of the regard, my own expectation of the regard that I should get from people, if I match it with the regard that I'm getting, so it will be unconditional one, and if it is unconditional then there will be no conflict, and finally we will be creative. Okay. So criticism, it is environmental influences ignored, I told you, and undue focus on individuals' need to progress and development, obviously. Talked about behavior, if not need not satisfied only, what if satisfied. They say that behavior we only, we talk about if this is not satisfied then what kind of behavior will come up. If this is satisfied then what kind of behavior will come up is not discussed. Okay, then this is done. We are done finally with the personality theories. And let's just quickly have a look. What is personality theories we have done. What is personality, we learned about what is personality. Then we did the Tate's approach, the Gordon Allport ka 3 approaches to understand personality. Then characteristics of personality. Then the 3 approaches to study personality, normothetic and ideographic, determinants, dimensions of personality, then features of personality, then theories of personality, 5 theories, mainly what is MBIT. MBIT is about the Myers-Briggs type indicators और personality, 16 personality types जिसमें आता है immaturity में एक continuum आता है, ऑलैंड का 6 इसमें दिया हुआ है personality types। फिर आता है Tate's theory में गॉर्डन ऑलपोर्ट का थ्योरी दिया हुआ है, उसमें 2 चीज़ बताई हुई है, कॉमन ट्रेट्स बताए हुए हैं और फिर प्रीडिस्पोजिशन बताए हुए हैं, और फिर ओशन की थ्योरी हमें पता ही है। फिर साइको एनालिटिकल सेगमेंट फ्रूट की थ्योरी इंपॉर्टेंट है, वो देखनी है। बाय मिस्टेक ये नीचे वाला हो गया है, प्लीज़ फॉरगिव मी फॉर दिस, इट इज़ सेगमेंट फ्रूट विच इज़ इंपॉर्टेंट। एंड देन बिहेवियरल थ्योरीज में BF स्किनर की जो थ्योरी है एनफोर्समेंट और एनफोर्समेंट वाली, देन सोशल कॉग्निटिव थ्योरी है दैट इज बेंडूरा की, दैट इज़ इंपॉर्टेंट। सेल्फ थ्योरीज में अब्राहम मैस्लोज थ्योरी इज इंपॉर्टेंट। ओके, so we are done with the personality theory. I hope you like the video, I hope it helped you. If you like the video, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.